So this year in May, I had broken up with my girlfriend after 7 years in a relationship. And it really took a toll on me the first couple of months because I had never shared an emotional, physical, or mental connection like that with anybody before in my life. I truly felt like she was the one for me. However, it got to a point where I could see that it just wasn't benefiting either of us. It was just really toxic relationship, and it got to the point where I could easily tell we were just holding each other back. It really put me down to have to end things because we both been through hell and back for one another. Like, we both showed up in ways for each other no one else had ever done before. So she's a really good girl, and I appreciate all her efforts and everything she did. After the relationship, I felt like she was the only one for me. Like, I'd never had that type of connection again, and I just completely fucked it up. Like, I could not get over it. And eventually I realized we were just completely codependent on one another and putting each other's needs before our own. So I'm glad we were both able to be mature about it during the breakup. And despite me initiating the breakup, saying this isn't working anymore, I had still considered a million things I did wrong and just wishing I'd changed it and just wishing that I could have did something different or what if I did that? Bro, it's over. And that's something we all have to realize is that when a relationship ends, it ends for a reason. And if you do get back together, it's never going to be the same. I guarantee it. All right, so after being used to living with her for 7 years, I had to pretty much start over at my mom's house and save up for a few months in order to grab all my shit and just move to Tampa, Florida, where I live now. The first few months were the hardest because I went from having this best friend that I could talk to about everything, or this woman that I slept with every night, to being completely alone. And I know I said I was staying at my mother's house, but she was out of the country. I was just completely by myself. So those first few weeks, I was having night terrors, panic attacks. I'd have these messed up dreams where she'd find someone else and they'd FaceTime me, or she's just getting plowed by another dude, and just cynical thoughts. I mean, I'm sure some guys can relate to that. So I just had to keep myself distracted. And I did that by getting back into drinking, despite knowing how bad it was. And I would be drinking with my brother to the point we'd be at the bar and I'd just come home and just literally throw beer up all over myself in bed. It was bad. I'd be crying every night. And the nights I wasn't doing all that, I'd be out at the gym till 2 in the morning at Planet Fitness, just trying to relieve all my pain. So at the time, I thought I was just allowing myself to process it by saying fuck it and just going with the flow, but it was just really unhealthy. The worst part is that despite being broken up, she'd still come over every other week for sex. And obviously, despite me breaking up with her, I wanted to make it work. I wanted to try to figure out what we needed to do. Because after 7 years, you put so much energy, time, and love and investment into somebody. You have these certain hopes and dreams. And when it doesn't go that way, you just feel completely you feel like a failure, like it's all your fault. And I've come to realize that's not the case. However, that's how I felt. And guys, I told her, like, I wish I never broke up with you. I wish we never went this direction. I wish there was a million things we could have did. And I even took her to a cabin down in Georgia for a couple days just to try to restart things. And it didn't really go as planned. It was kind of weird. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we were still seeing each other physically, but you could tell there was just like an emotional disconnect still. And I mean, that's the thing, guys. Like, I know it's different for every relationship, but if you're only going for a year, 2 years, or a couple months at that, my suggestion would be just go completely no contact. It's not going to be easy. You have to have a certain mental fortitude to handle it. But I guarantee you that when you give yourself that time to heal and that space to not think about her, you're going to see dramatic improvements. So what I had realized was now was the time to get on my shit. Now was the time to focus on abundance, to focus on my priorities, to focus on my dreams, right? No woman wants to be your purpose. And that was my issue, was that I was putting her on a pedestal before everything. I was using her as an excuse not to go to the gym. I was using her as an excuse to just spend time with her rather than focusing on my own personal growth. So again, I'll take full accountability of that. And while I could hope that she takes accountability for some of the things too, none of it matters now. So it was a couple months before the relationship ended where I could sense things were going in the wrong direction. And I mean, honestly, it had probably been even longer than that. But it really just made me start holding myself more accountable with just showing up to the gym every day. And while I wasn't pushing myself as hard as I could have, I was at least going in that right direction. But emotionally, I was still down really bad. Like, I wasn't confident, I was insecure, and I was just overall depressed. It wasn't until the actual breakup that propelled me into a consistent workout routine, to actually showing up for myself, completely devoting myself to my physical physique, to emphasizing the quality of the foods I eat, being active and stretching daily, developing a skincare routine, to identifying and healing my traumas, and really just going all in to becoming a better person. And it was in seeing this that gave me a shift in perspective that allowed me to embrace the change. It gave me the retrospection to see that neither of us were perfect and we were both full of mistakes, and that I would much rather have to endure the heartbreak, refine my purpose, and pursue that rather than remain stagnant and continue partaking in the same degenerate shit with her. It really just goes to show that all this shit happens for a reason, because now all my energy, rather than being poured into her, is now being poured back into myself. Heartbreak can be one hell of a motivator, so it's important to use that pain as a fuel and not fire. Now, do I still miss her? The memories, the connections? Do I still think about her? Do I wish things went differently? I'm not gonna lie, I still do, but I understand now that regardless of the circumstances, as a man, I have to pursue my God given purpose before anything in this life, especially a woman. So I've come to terms with the relationship ending. She's no longer the main priority of my life, and she never should have been. So if you're in a relationship or you just got out of one and it's been a long time and you feel like that heartbreak is just unbearable, allow this video to be a reminder to strive towards becoming the best version of yourself, not for anyone else, but for you. So for my brothers that did have that breakup, if you don't want to get up to the gym, you don't want to get out, you don't want to socialize, you just want to sit and wallow, you may not even want to leave your room or do basic tasks without thinking about her. My suggestion is that you learn to grieve properly, right? As a man, it is natural to grieve when you lose someone you love, but you need to learn how to channel those emotions and not let them take control of you. You reaching back out to her and begging her to take you back is not going to give you any type of control. Don't succumb yourself to negative vices like drinking or getting high or just doing whatever you can to numb that pain. And this is something I wish I did differently, but I'm glad that I picked it up quickly to realize that this was not the correct outlet for me, and that it was just much better to start focusing on more positive things like going to the gym, focusing on my appearance, just taking care of myself aesthetically, and just having different outlets. So for me, it was getting back into reading, getting into new hobbies, and most especially just starting this YouTube back up. When you start obsessing with self-improvement, working on your business, finding a new purpose, getting on top of your goals, she no longer becomes the main mission in your life. She no longer becomes that main thing. And slowly but surely, you'll come to realize that there is an abundance of women out here, that it is not as bad as social media likes to portray it. There are plenty of conscious feminine women, women who are better suited for you and your needs. You'll eventually realize that the relationship was not perfect, and you'll learn to be grateful for how the events transpired, but only if you do it correctly. Learn to use your pain as a motivator. Learn to take the hit and move forward with your life. It's only up from here. You have now been given an opportunity to choose the lifestyle and ideals you wish to live by. I will save the methodical step-by-step things I did to improve my appearance for the next video, but I truly believe that if you focus on your mental, physical, and emotional well-being, if you improve your diet, and you look towards healing your traumas, this will all reflect in your appearance. However, this last thing was by far one of the most influential and beneficial things in terms of helping me process and regulate this breakup. And it was having close male friends that I could talk to about it. A guy who understands and has been through a similar situation. Being able to get that outside perspective of the relationship and where things went wrong will help you get closure in it. It is going to be a lot more better for you to talk to your homies about it rather than just suppressing it. For me, it was talking to my homie Armand, who's practically been there for me since 8th grade. This is a guy I trust more than anyone because he's seen me in all stages of life. He's seen me at my worst. He's seen me be in my degenerate stages. And he's just a really overall good guy who I can trust to give me an honest opinion. And let's say you don't have anyone else to talk to, another great way to get over the breakup is just to go through YouTube and get other guys' perspectives. Now, if you're looking for a book that has helped me tremendously is Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. I've read this book several times in the relationship and probably like 100 times now on my own. While none of this has been easy, I know for a fact that if it wasn't for the breakup, I would not be down here living in Florida right now. I want to be living right off the water. I want to be able to go to the beach right down the street. I wouldn't have a surplus to high quality foods and being in the sun every day, just as I've always wanted. So none of this has been easy, and I pretty much had to give up the one thing I thought I'd never give up in order to move forward towards the life I want to live. I want to say that I believe relationships are a beautiful thing, and while things may have not ended the way either of us wanted to, I know I wouldn't change it for the world, and I wish her nothing but the best. And honestly, experiences like those are invaluable. I believe it's important that we be open to receive love and find it, but more importantly, learning to be the right person, right? Because we always talk about finding the right person. But I honestly believe that when you learn to have that level of self love and discipline, it will only help magnify and attract that right partner for you. This is just my take and everything that I went through. And yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next one.